Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next Big Future. My co-host Randy Kirk here. So I'm going to go over some slides on Robotaxi, Tesla Robotaxi, because there's been huge news that they're going to expand to San Francisco. And I've also done an update on comparing safety with the really good data we have from Austin, and also the expansion of the training, the parameters, all that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot of news about what's developing there. So I'll start with that, and then Randy will cut in as needed.
When I'm
Oh,
confused, I'll check in. I'll cut
yeah.
in when I'm confused. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's view these slides. Uh, There we go. Okay. So the big news was that this morning, Tesla said that they're going to do supervised, so a safety driver in San Francisco, but it starts this weekend. I really wish they would have reported that on the call, like 2 days before, but they didn't. And they said, okay, let's just keep that to ourselves for Friday. Anyway, but I guess regulatory approval and regulatory approval dropped, and now they can do it. Um, Also, from when they call, we know that they're going to expand 10 times the area in Austin. They're at 42 square miles now, so it would actually be 420, which would be larger than the whole main city of Austin, which is 320 square miles. And there's like 3,000 square miles in the greater Austin area. So still have room to go to get the greater Austin. Gene Munster put out a note just before the earnings call saying that there were 35 Tesla cars in July, that they'd gone from 15 to 35. But on the call, Ashok said that there was a handful and 7,000 plus square miles. So it's unclear. It seems to me that it should go to 35, but we don't know. But assuming, like 15, 20 cars in Austin and then another 10 to 15 in San Francisco, being a dip to your toe expansion similar in scale to Austin, then you would have 30 to 35 cars, if the Gene Munster is correct, up to 50 cars by the end of this weekend. And then um, if when they expand to a full city, it doesn't make sense that they would keep only 10 to 15, 35 cars. You need to go to 200 plus 300 vehicles, and that would be by the end of August. And then similarly, San Francisco, we expect to have similar expansion. So we're getting more data points about the expansion.
All right. Let me interject real quick.
Sure.
A lot of people back and forth today about what's really going on in San Francisco. Let me just say that according to Grok and according to Sawyer Merritt, who usually does his homework, what's happening in San Francisco is really an expansion of what they were already doing up north of there in this with the supervised driver. It didn't require new licensing or anything, but apparently there's kind of an understanding. It's not a flat rule that you have to do 50,000 miles, but there's kind of an understanding that they want to see 50,000 miles of data before they okay the next level. And apparently it doesn't matter. It doesn't do them any good to turn in their license request for the next step up until they're in the ballpark of doing that. So this is where we are right now, is apparently trying to get somewhere close to that 50,000 miles of data, at which point they can say, look, we've done everything you asked us to do. Now we want our license.
Okay. So are we still saying that they're starting a supervised service this weekend? Is that what's happening?
They're starting a supervised service as far as we know. That did, by the way, is still in the rumor phase because or stage as internal memos or something. We haven't had anything from the company. And as far as I know, I haven't seen anything yet that it's actually started on Friday night. But as far as we know, it starts this weekend. It's a very large service area, at least eventually.
Mhm.
Whether it'll start out being in that huge area is unknown at this point. But again, with a driver in the driver's seat, then they can pretty much expand as far as they decide that they think they can get rides. Oh, and it continues to be friends, family, employees, and specific individuals that are allowed to take these rides, not the general public.
Okay. Okay, that's a good update to what's happening there. But still some number of of vehicles to be added into, supervised or ride um, safety rider type things
Yes.
that we have there.
Yeah.
Okay, so City of Austin has really good up-to-date data that they make publicly available on the safety record, and I've reviewed that constantly as we go because they update it on a daily basis. Tesla still only had one safety incident, so not a crash. This was the Dave Lee, the safety rider stopped in lane, pushed the button to stop in lane instead of rolling forward at a foot per second or 6 inches per second. It stopped in lane because a UPS truck was backing into the same parking space that it was going to go for, right? And the UPS driver was not paying attention, could have backed into the vehicle, right? But it would have been a crash, not really to the fault of the Tesla, but it could have been a fender bender. That was avoided. So not like, a crash would have occurred, lives would have been lost, injuries would have happened. It would have been property damage of some kind. On the call, they said they had 7,000 plus miles over the 30 days.
Mhm.
So that is one incident for 37. There were also several other disengagements related to navigation and some other stuff, but not related to safety. Um, and so we get to 1535, maybe 50 vehicles. Um, so Tesla had one safety incident. That was one. Waymo has had 27 safety incidents. I'll have more on the report showing that. So that was three collisions. So two of those collisions occurred when they were doing their initial testing
Mhm.
before they did commercial service. So the
Mhm.
thing is, that also says that Austin will record incidences related to vehicles just driving around for anything you're doing in the area.
Got it.
Driving passengers around, or whether you're just testing, gets included in that stuff. So Tesla has 3 to 6 times more vehicles running around mapping and testing and getting ready to expand to a full city. If something happened in the month or two while they're getting ready, that would lump into Tesla safety incidences, blocking traffic, whatever you're doing.
Right.
And also there were 4 times where Waymo ignored APD, so I assume that's fire police direction. So they're doing that. So they're causing or be involved in collisions, blocking traffic, ignoring stuff. A lot of blocking traffic that they do and I'll go into that in detail. So Tesla had 500 plus vehicle days, right? Something like 15 some vehicles over the 30 some days. And they have 3,000 some vehicle days if you include all the testing that's clearly going on in the area. And then one incident. And then 7,000 miles of paid rides, but over 30,000, maybe 40,000 miles of rides and testing. Um, Waymo has an incident every 12,000 miles. So I run the numbers based on they have 250,000 miles per week for their
Mhm.
full fleet. And so I'm giving them saying if you have 100 vehicles, 1/10 of your stuff, and they may even have less than 1/10, maybe only 6% of the vehicles in Austin, that would mean they have at least 25,000 miles per week. And they may have fluctuation like 50 cars going, 100 cars going. I'm giving credit for the full thing.
Okay.
So I'm overestimating their miles between incidences and then miles between accidents. And this one incident every 200, 300 vehicle days. Again, assuming the full 100 vehicles supposedly are driving every day, which
Okay.
may or may not be happening. So again, this is a chart on the Austin autonomous vehicle website page. The one incidence over, now, into the second month for Tesla, and it was just that one Dave Lee incident. And then you have so you can do a mouse over of the each month to, okay, 6 incidents in in July, 11 in June, 14 in May. They had a drop off in April after they started off. They kicked off in March, and then they have incidents before they started in March and into last year. And then the breakdown in the little circle below saying, okay, it's 4 times they ignored um, the directions. Oh, sorry, 1 time they ignored the directions of APD. 1 time they had a collision, that the purple one. 4 times they had safety concerns. Um, and then this is the full 71 instances they've had, basically from 2024, where they're doing the testing, and then rolling into their actual service. Probably also mixed with testing. So we see that 3 collisions, 1 near miss, um, and then several of the ignoring APD, like 8 times ignored APD.
Mm.
And then 27 were the safety incidents, so roughly 10x the versus the collisions versus safety issues. And then 31 that were nuisance and blocking traffic, which I think are a similar thing because they get into intersections, they block traffic. It's been caught on video by
Sure.
Farzad. Um, okay, and then we've had insurance companies and National Highway Safety report how many accidents they've had. So from 2021 to 2024, they had nearly 700 accidents and oftentimes they're not the one responsible.
Right.
So 80, 90% they're not the one responsible, but 10% they are.
Mm.
Um, and then they cause accidents, like blocking the traffic. People, you know, they didn't get involved in the accident, but accident happened beside them because they were, messing things up.
Sure.
Someone had to avoid them, and they ran into things. They show only 20 incidences in Texas. Those are the incidences in the testing phase for Austin, right? In 2024. And then you add 50 more. So 25 in 2025, we have 50 more incidences in Austin. And probably it's at least 500 plus incidents that have been happening in California and areas because there's, 10 times as many vehicles and activity happening in California and Austin. And also, if we have the 10x number of these are accidents, 10x the number of safety incidents, 10x the number of blocking, because assuming the data from Austin is correct, then you're looking at 5,000, 6,000 safety instances, 6,000 blocking traffic nuisance thing that are happening with Waymo. Because assuming, why would things be different in California and
Right.
Arizona?
Probably worse in some ways.
Right, right. And then there's, serious injuries and moderate injuries and minor injuries that have occurred with this is only up to 2024, not including 2025. And they're doing a lot more activity. And, up until the end of 24, they're just getting near 80 per month of accidents in the thing. So then, assuming this is kind of increasing and we know that there's more activity in um, in Texas, then we're likely over 100 per month um, for that. And still that's only the accidents, the collisions, not safety incidents and blocking of traffic, which are about 10x each for Waymo. So that then you're looking at maybe 1,000, incidences um, per month for them. So that's all the data on that, on the safety stuff, and the activity expansion for Tesla and for Cayman and Waymo. There was also the um, thing which I think maybe occurred before about the Chinese test, where they found that Tesla compares better than all the Chinese driver systems,
By
and
a
this
lot.
was by a
Okay.
lot. And this was, like none had other system had more than 3 out of 6 correct. And it turned out this 5 out of 6 for Tesla was with the unlocalized version
Hmm.
of FSD. And Elon has said that they can do 6 out of 6 with the localized version they have
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
And the instances they were doing were, sudden steering by lead vehicle, construction zone things for 2 of them, um, aggressive merge, and spotting a crash vehicle on the highway and a bore. And this was, in Chinese, basically the grid showing that um, all the other systems had a lot of problems with the bore or the some aspect of a construction zone type thing, and also the crash vehicle on the highway is something else. So those last 2 things they had a lot of trouble with. So now we move on to the scaling of parameters. So that was discussed in the call, where they said they could scale to 4 times the parameter, 10 times. We can expect, possibly up to a 5x improvement in interventions. So going from one incident every 7,000 miles, 10,000 miles, which we're already seeing that behavior in Austin, which that system will get out to everyone, and then also get four times more parameters, unless the Austin system already has four times more parameters, we don't know. But if it doesn't, then we keep, but they probably don't have the 10 times more parameters. We should see a further, 5x, 10x improvement in the uh, fully realized Austin system with all the new parameters and even smoother driving. So that's roughly what this further analysis does, maybe 3 to 8 times improvement overall. And then the compute training is still increasing. If you have over 120,000 H100s, that'd be about 500 exaflops because H100 has up to 4 exaflops by some measurements, depending on how much precision you use. So that would put it as the second largest AI compute cluster after the XAI cluster. And they have a pure Dojo one at 100 exaflops down at 7. So larger than Meta and the others, which probably have about the equivalent of 100,000 H100s, which might be, I'm thinking it's 25,000 B200s. I don't think they have 100,000 H100s because they have trouble making them coherent
Mhm.
for data centers. But they can install 30,000 B200, which would
Has any
have,
has
yeah.
has has anybody reported yet that they have been able to do more than 31,000 other than XAI in terms of coherence?
Um, I think Google does, but then Google isn't using NVIDIA chips.
Right,
So I think they may have 100,000, but their chips are weaker because they're TPUs and not NVIDIA chips.
right,
And they have, so I have not heard of that, a larger number of chips. Although they're saying that they will build it and make it work.
right.
I think saying they'll have 400,000 chips working by middle of next year for the Stargate system or other stuff. And they're putting them together. Whether they're all working together is unclear.
Another
But based
story.
on this report from Grok that they're keeping tabs on everyone else, um, there's no indication that that's happening.
Yeah,
Although you could have, again, more chips installed in one location, but are they
not coherent.
coherent?
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't know.
yeah.
And then I've been tracking this again, showing that getting to 3 million H100 equivalents when they get the 550,000 chips working, and then getting very quickly to the 1 million. And it's looking like those 2 points of a Grok 5 and Grok 6 with 5 million H100 equivalents seems a lock now that they've gotten to over halfway with the 550,000 chips.
Right, right. So, and what about Elon pointed out today that I don't know if you've got a slide on it, but he put up a slide today that was talking about how far ahead Grok is on the metrics, and there's just running. It's just getting better all the time. He talked a couple of days ago. He said, just in 4 days since
Mhm.
launch, it was already getting better. Now it's been another couple of days. He puts up another chart, and it looked like to me that the data that the points of that were showing for Grok were significantly ahead of everybody on some of these um, competitions.
Okay. I had not seen
Okay,
that. The Grok 4 is ahead based on the one of the analyst things. They're not ahead on the LM Arena leaderboard, which is kind of a Coke Pepsi taste test kind of thing where
right,
where
right.
people, developers, put them up there and then compare them and then, thumbs up, thumb down kind of thing. But they are, high level. There are, third or so on their thing. But then if they get to a Grok 5 with 550,000, like 7, 8 times the compute, you would expect it to leapfrog then ahead of all the others. It's something where I think once the XAI developers get all the algorithm and other improvements that the others have, that that they would be able to then all their compute advantage should translate to 10 to 20%, better on the rating scores and points and other stuff like that. So they should have, this pure Harvard advantage, which should translate into a substantial gain. So once they make some other improvements, and the other thing is that they should be able to do faster runs, do more tests because he has so much compute to do things. They also can do more experiments. Yeah.
So they had, and people were talking today, some of the people were talking about Companion as being kind of a game changer. Now, I don't know if it'll be a game changer for somebody sitting in the marketing department, at some big company trying to decide how to send out emails, whether people be using Companion to get that done or not. But at least for the normal consumer, I don't know, the student, the kids,
Mhm.
the young adults who are using it at home, pretty much everybody I know has used an LLM as a marriage counselor or a relationship counselor at some point. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't think I've talked to anybody that hasn't at least tried it.
Mhm.
Today, somebody's talking about how good Grok is as a doctor.
Mhm.
And so if the companion
Mhm.
makes it more accessible, I think is the right word. You feel a
Mhm.
little different, talking to, well, I don't know about the teddy bear with the little,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
and I didn't find that the young lady was that relatable either. But maybe they'll come up with a few more characters that would be more for an old man like me to talk to. But
Mhm.
I think in general, if
Mhm.
you've got a character there that you can have the conversation with, it's
Mhm.
going to make it more interesting to go in and do the work.
I think that would really be far more customizable and explode when they get the multimodal version in a couple of 3 months.
Mm,
So where they have, video and graphic generation, then, you know, making the avatar whatever you want would be completely within your control. And then making the adjustments on personality and stuff, it should be a highly customizable thing that they be able to achieve. But I'm not sure what else is needed, because they have the three or four um, specific versions of things. Maybe there's some kind of testing and stuff. But that seems like something where you would get for full personalization
yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Why wouldn't you, get them to behave exactly the way you want, whatever personality you want, and have more than just a handful? Like it would be like, I think there are character AI and other ones have had hundreds of characters. So
mhm,
so you can. It's already been shown that that can be done. So it seems that you're concerned about, not having one that you want, that you'd be able
right,
to like
right,
adjust parameters and also feed in your things that it could, you know, it's like the dating site, to get something matched up to what you want.
right, right, right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, again, people are talking. It's getting a lot of action on X in
Hmm.
terms of people talking about the characters, and so maybe that's going to be an important part of their game plan.
Right. Right. So, did you want to discuss anything else in terms of either AI, Robotaxi, or the stock itself, the action today where, it got some recovery and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think what for me, and again, we're doing this for both channels. For me, I really still want to stay on top of the solar thing.
Hmm.
Larry Goldberg is convinced
Hmm.
that Elon is thinking very hard. He's not just thinking,
Hmm.
but he's thinking very hard about getting into solar. And over the last 3 or 4 days, pretty much every single day, Elon has posted something about solar.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that would indicate that he's really thinking about it.
Hmm.
One of the questions would be what technological advantage there might be. So I know you stay way up on this more than I do, but maybe you don't have anything on it. But have you heard any kind of things that are already in the public domain that either Tesla would be able to buy, Tesla would be able to copy, anything that would make a dramatic difference compared to the Chinese kind of standard, product that would make it smart to make it here instead.
Um, so there's certain material things that they can make a choice of, which I think is perovskite is solar material, which is more abundant and could be useful for scaling that way. Um, but I think the overall architecture of the panels and the materials is something that I think the main issue is speed of deployment, not the efficiency, not the and some aspects of cost, but for the whole system cost that they make it from the factory and it's integrated and they're pushing it up. Like one thing for Tesla's AI computer chips is that they are installing them at a rate of 200,000, 300,000 per month, which Jensen had called it superhuman when they did 30,000 per month, right? Which they, like did at the end of last year, right? So they've gone up like 10 times because it took 120 days to do 100,000 chips. And now they're doing 550,000 in like less than 2 months, right? So, and with completely new chips. And others aren't doing it. So there's manufacturing, you know, capabilities of bringing stuff, truckloads and truckloads of chips, like 10,000 a day coming in versus others doing 100 or less per day, right? So they've done some manufacturing stuff there. So that manufacturing knowledge and powers and bringing everything together is what you would want to have for your solar. That you have some kind of facility there where, the trucks are coming up with uh, load after load of solar materials that you're just laying out and being able to build 10 times, 100 times faster. That kind of construction advantage and being able to like light it up and have all the mega packs work together, all the grid stuff going together. Because it's solar can be put up quickly on a smaller scale,
Hmm.
just popping onto a roof or something like that, and then get it activated. Oh, look, it's so fast. But when you build it at a national scale, like Germany saying, okay, we're going to do solar for our whole country,
Right.
it took them multiple decades to get to the point where it was, I don't know, like 10, 20, 30%, right? But nuclear cost 10 times less for France to get to 80% of their electricity,
Right. Right.
right? So the the delays are building it all out, connecting to the grid, getting everything hooked up, like going from just distributed stuff. So they have Megapacks and they're making Megapack 3, which will have grid integration components to make it faster to turn these things on. Because like the delay in like Megapacks are being made in China since the beginning of the year, but we haven't seen that show up in the energy report, right? Because they're
Right.
not fully installed, even as fast as China's doing it. So there's issues with getting it all working for energy storage and for solar.
So as I've been trying to think about it, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I've maybe you and I've already had this conversation, and maybe I've just will be saying it for the fifth time to my crowd here, but Tesla's going to have autonomous electric trucks
Mhm.
probably sometime next year
Right.
before they could possibly have built and started to scale the solar factory.
Hmm.
So sometime around the same time, let's say, as the solar factory is ready to go, they're
Hmm.
going to have autonomous electric trucks, which is going to
Yeah.
reduce their cost. What did we figure out is going to be like 10% of the
Hmm.
cost
Right.
when you have a person in the seat and you're paying for diesel.
Right.
So your raw material, wherever that raw material is, you're picking that raw material up now, and you're going to bring it to the plant for 90% less
Hmm.
than it was going to cost that it cost everybody else, including maybe not 90% less than China, because that person in the seat might not be as much, but it's going to
Hmm.
cost less than China to bring that truckload of raw materials to the plant.
Hmm.
Now, if we take Elon's methodologies, Elon's what you're talking about, manufacturing prowess, potentially materials prowess, everything else that we know about what Elon and his crews are capable of doing.
Yeah.
And now you build something that's at least landed on the floor, landed on the factory floor, costs the same as China without
Hmm.
having to ship it overseas. This is my bottle business. I didn't make bottles cheaper than China, but the
Hmm.
10 cents it was costing to get it from China to the United States made me competitive. So
Right.
that's why I never took my bottles to China to make them. Same
Right.
thing here, fairly inexpensive product. if you've got the same price landed on the factory floor and you
Hmm.
don't have all that freight, you've got a
Hmm.
big advantage. Now you turn it around and you're going to freight it to
Hmm.
location.
Hmm.
So when you're freighting it to the location, you're back to having a 90% advantage again against
Hmm.
anybody else getting it to the location that it's going to be installed.
Right.
So this combination of advantages to me, and then of course you could have, to the extent you need any labor in the factories, those can be robots.
Hmm.
A lot of them could be robots. So it would seem like he should be able to make a better product at a lower price, as usual,
Hmm.
even more so than in the past because of the trucks.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely think that's the case. One thing I wanted to show was this is the wiring that's inside the Memphis 2 facility
Right.
where they're because all the chips have to be connected to everything else, right? So this kind of, you know, wiring everything up in 30 days, right,
Yes.
is the kind of technological advantage that they have. So we have that picture, and then also the wiring in the back, right?
Right.
So it's just, and they can do that like everything wired together as, like for 10,000 units every day, right? So that kind of like hooking it all up, getting the grid connected, and they're working on the grid components for megapacks, right?
Right.
So that kind of get it all hooked up. I want a gigawatt, 10 gigawatts, just like, like a truckload after truckload as fast as I can move it there, and then it all gets hooked up. Either I built it that way, so I can just deploy it and pop it in, snap it together. That's how they're going to snap together the cars. They had to go from, for the unboxed process, the modular giant Lego thing.
Right.
Instead of putting up wiring harnesses, they said we're going to go to 48-volt architecture, and they can just snap together,
Hmm.
right? So that kind of some level of innovation on the construction and on the fully deployed, it's all working at a large scale. It, is something that, like when they're making the best, most reliable superchargers and they have to go to megapacks for the trucks and they have to, scale up and say instead of um, a megawatt of power for a supercharger in terms of like the solar, I need to get to 10 megawatts, 50 megawatts, 100 megawatts for each location, right? So it's how can I just pop it out in one day, right? How can I just pop it out and have it all working
Right.
and plugging that power in? And all that power can also be used for, to top up mega packs for an AI data center as well, right? So they have these huge needs to be able to pop out um, a fully all the solar power I need, all the mega packs I need, all hooked up and sending power in the right um, voltages and speed of delivery for powering up a megawatt for a truck or powering up an AI data center. So that's the speed of and the demand what they need to be able to deploy, what they need to take control of.
So the other part that I've been trying to think through is right now, I think everybody's mental picture, if to the extent that people are thinking about it at all, the
Mhm.
mental picture is, oh, we've got to deliver a lot of this power generation has to be next to the plant, next to the AI factory, they're calling them now, the information factories.
Yeah,
You need to have that coal that I'm sorry, the gas capability right there. You
yeah,
need as opposed to the grid because the grid is overwhelmed already.
yeah,
But it seemed to me that if Elon gets into the solar power business, if he decides to make these solar devices, the U.S. needs to double their total electric power. It's
yeah,
not a matter of just adding one one X
yeah,
to wherever these new installations are going in.
right.
So if we make them for charging stations, if we make them for industrial roofs, if we make
Mm.
them to go over the canopies in shopping centers and universities and large corporations and government installations, if
Right.
that's where they're going, if we
Yeah,
make them to go on roofs and they're
yeah,
cheaper than the other ones that go on roofs, wherever we make them, that is powering part of the overall need,
right.
which frees up the potential power for these data centers.
And Elon has said back when he said we need how he's thinking very hard about how to add 1,000 terawatts,
Right.
and that is the entire power of the United States. So then, if he said, okay, I can only do it in 20 years, you have to, that's still 50 gigawatts per year,
Right.
right? It's a lot of power to add, and it would be the equivalent of, if I was to back up power all that stuff, I think it would be 50,000 or 100,000, megapacks or something like that. Actually, yeah. So it's these huge numbers of what
Right.
they would need to um, system. So
Yeah. All right. So these are some of the solutions that I'm coming up with, that you're coming up with, and
yeah,
we're just, little peons here, little
yeah,
YouTube,
yeah,
folks here. And it seemed to me that these are the same kind of. So it makes me frustrated when I'm watching people that I really respect
yeah.
from the Trump administration, the Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of it's not energy. What's his
Treasury,
no, no, uh the one that has the energy under his belt. It's not
transportation, Department of Energy.
it's the Department of Energy. Anyway,
Yeah.
but they've been on these programs recently. They've been on these podcasts recently, and they've been saying, "Well, yeah, we no forget solar and wind because it's intermittent
Mhm.
and and I don't think that they're thinking it through. I think that they're not thinking about the kinds of things that we just talked about, where you can get it delivered cheaper, and it doesn't have to be necessarily tied into a utility.
So I think that when Elon reveals, his solution for it, his breakthrough
Oh, is
solution for
is
it,
a master plan
not,
for?
not even a master plan. It's like when he makes a factory and he starts
Okay.
popping this stuff out, like
Yeah.
probably in Nevada or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That, and he's okay. Now I'm going to start constructing. Just like he has the superchargers, he made, almost 10 times more than everyone else in the
Right.
United States in reliable superchargers. That he would just do it,
Yeah.
and then they'll say, okay, yeah, we got to use that solution. I'm going to make a better rocket, and then you have to use it because it's like 10 times better, right? So he'll do it, and then they'll get on board. Like the fact that they don't, Elon doesn't need their help to research and make the solution. He can make the solutions himself, and then they'll realize, okay, that's the best, right? So that's what I expect to happen. In terms of like the issues around, solar and other stuff, again, it's solar's a big boy now. Like they're producing a lot of stuff, and they will. Um, there's enough money and other stuff. If that's one of the major solutions that can be built faster, that'll happen. So it's not something where, you know, if they don't fund it, if they don't give it subsidies, that
Yeah, I wasn't looking for funding or subsidies. I just, it's just frustrating to listen to it.
right, right,
It's
yeah,
like, come on, guys, have you done any research at all?
yeah,
And they're people I respect otherwise. It's like this
right.
blind spot where everything else they're saying makes sense, and then they get this one blind spot, and I'm like, I need
Well, there could be a lot of money coming from, natural
that's
gas and oil.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so, for now, those other um, um, legacy industries still have a lot of power.
Yeah.
So, and
A lot of
not power,
politics.
not just whatever, but political power. Yeah,
Yes, I get
right.
it. All right. Did you have anything else that you were thinking about with regard to Tesla today? Yes, the stock went up. Yes, the stock came back down. I think
Yeah,
that was because of San Francisco in both
mhm,
cases.
right.
It went up because it looked like San Francisco was going to be a real rollout.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be not quite as much of a rollout as we thought. And then people thought, oh, it's not going to be a rollout at all. And then it turns out,
Yeah.
well, no, it is. Anyway, it was a lot of back and forth today. And I think that was at least part of the activity. For me, I think there was going to be a bounce anyway today.
Hmm.
So I would have expected a pretty good bounce, which may have been the early going,
Hmm.
the first bounce. But uh, yeah, I think there's a series of this is my speculation. You tell me yours. I think we've got a series of catalysts that are just going to be knock, knock, knock. It's just going to be one after another.
Right.
People are now looking for actual execution. I think they proved that today.
right,
where they saw something being executed and the stock went like that.
right. And that was something we I think we talked about on Wednesday before that um, if they're going to go to anything approaching the capacities and rollouts of multiple states
Right.
and getting to, you can't do that without getting to 2000 plus
Right.
Robotaxi, and there will be have to be no safety rider, safety monitor again to
Right.
scale to that thing, and then so have some kind of expansion in San Francisco, California. That will get more and bigger. They will get to Arizona. They will get to Florida. The Austin expansion will happen. So those every week or two, there'll be some kind of announcement that way that will be significant to show that um, the people who don't believe in the autonomy robotaxi thing are wrong.
Yeah.
That it is happening. Like my tracking of the safety shows that, it is safe. They will, and the safety will improve
Hmm.
by,
Hmm. Hmm.
5 to 10 times between now and the end of the year. And that will give them more confidence to deploy more. And then the China and Europe approvals will happen as well. So those are all things over the next 5 months, like 150 days of a lot of catalysts. Like in order to squeeze that in, it's like a lot will be happening constantly.
Yeah,
That would,
I think I saw a post today that said
yeah,
152 days. That's right. Yeah.
right,
I
right.
don't know who put that post
Yeah,
up.
that was me. It's the thing it's going to happen over those days. Like if we're doing this over 6 months, and then it'll roll into next year where they um, get the Airbnb type service where people sign up. Like a
Right.
lot has to happen there, and unless they totally miss it, then that will mean a lot of catalysts, a lot of events, and getting to the tipping point where all the people like Gary Black saying, I don't know what people are getting excited about San Francisco roll, or whether people still doubting it, that it will everything be changed. Like getting the
You said that awfully fast. Gary
yeah,
Black said today, I don't understand what's so exciting about a rollout to San Francisco. I mean, Gary,
yeah,
come on now. Are
yeah,
you, I mean, it's like sometimes a person gets themselves backed into the corner
yeah,
because they've taken a position and now they have to keep taking the negative position from then on. They can't ever say,
right.
oh, I get it.
Yeah, right. But that's again a self-own of like I'm still clueless. It's like, and then they'll remove the safety rider, safety driver. They have 200 plus vehicles, and say I don't see what the big deal is. Saying it's been a month in, they've done amazing stuff. I'm still clueless. Don't worry about me. If you thought I was gonna get a clue, not happened yet.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so we'll look forward to that, and hopefully a good weekend with some kind of rollout and see how big that is. And then really look forward to the full expansion in Austin and getting to more vehicles and removing the imitation, opening it up because those will be huge. Very difficult with no safety riders, safety drivers, hundreds of vehicles, 1,000 vehicles to say that this is not the real deal. Yeah.
All right. Very
Okay.
cool.
Have a good weekend. Bye bye.